Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to prep the pant legs to get ready to sew the center front and center back of the pants. So as you can see here, I've got two legs that are sewn together, or one leg is sewn together and they're separated, okay? And they're both with wrong sides out, and how I can tell is because of the seam here. So what I'm going to do is take one leg and I'm going to turn it right side out. Okay, so this leg is wrong side out, and this leg I just turned so that it's right side out. So what I'm going to do is insert the leg inside here, inside the top part up here, so you can see that. And what I'm going to match is this seam, this center seam here. Match that seam, just match those two here and pin that in place. Then I'm going to go and find my three notches. Remember, we cut 1, 2, 3 there, and I'm going to find that on the other one, and I'm putting right sides together. So I'm going to pin there, and then I'm going to pin up by the waistband. So remember, when we marked X is for back, this is the wrong side back, and this is the X in the back here. So I'm going to match those edges, pin that in place, and then I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to find the two notch cuts that I did and find the two notch cuts there and put those two together and pin there. And then go up to the waistband here and put a pin there. Now, shake it here so you can see. So it should look something like this. Let me move the sewing machine back a little bit so we can see. You see like the big U here. So I've got the two pieces all pinned together, and remember to pin perpendicular to the cut edge. So this is perpendicular, the way that I've pinned, not parallel. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to re-pin, put a couple more pins in here so that I can keep my edges together. So I'm going to pin here, and then right here at this curve, I'll put another pin there. And go over to the other side. Just make sure those edges are together. Pin there, and then I'll put one right up here at the top. Now we're ready to sew. So we're going to sew this big U here. And we're going to sew at 5/8. As you're sewing, always check to make sure your edges are together. Especially on this curve, because sometimes they'll want to move on you. And then when you get to the seam, make sure the seam lays flat. right, so now we've sewed a big U. The next thing we'll do is we'll do our seam finish. So I'm going to set my to 12 and 4 and 5, open one layer, oh, I hate when that happens. I didn't hang on to the thread. If you don't hold on to the thread, and if your take-up lever wasn't up at the top, it could possibly unthread your needle for you, and that's what happened. Let's take 2. I'm going to do the other side. So I've put my seam finish in, and then the next step, what I want you to do is you're going to do a double stitch right here in the center crotch area. And the reason why we do that is so that, like, you did a deep knee bend or you bent over or whatever, you're not going to pop these seams at the crotch and then have a hole in your pants. So what you're going to do is you're going to go probably, let's see, how many inches? Let's go 5 inches up from the center seam here, 5 inches up, and then go 5 inches back. So what I'll do is I'll take my invisible pin and make a mark right here to show me where I'm going to start here, and then 5 inches going through the back here and put a little mark right there. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to put where your marking is, right here. I'm going to use that, you know how the U of the foot on the inside has a U? I'm going to put the inside part right there on the seam that I just sewed, and that's going to be how far apart. Oh my gosh, it slipped again. It's going to be one of those days here. Let's try it again. Didn't hang on to it. All right. Okay, so let's try that again. All right, so the inside of the foot there is right on that stitching. Now, I need to move my stitch dial back. So I'm going to move it back down to 9, 10, 1, 2, and then move the big dial back to 0. So it'll straight stitch. So I'm going to do a couple stitches, back stitch, and then stitch. I'm coming up on my marking. And then back tack. And clip all your threads there. And then you're going to go to the iron and you're going to press your seam open. So press your seam as far as you can go. You won't be able to press it very far where you just double stitched, but go ahead and press that as far as you can go. And then once you have pressed that, then you can pull that other leg out of the other leg out, and you'll have a pair of pants.